In this installment of Lesson of the Week brought to you by Swing Catalyst, we're going to take a shallow dive into the great benefits of this technology, which, among other things, can be used to speed the diagnostic process for correlating the clues that players provide given the challenges they face to identify the proper targets for the change recommendations we make. So in this case, we have one of the best ball strikers in the world who came off a mid-season stretch of 3 events. So we're firmly inside that competitive season, which is a critical data point affecting what we may or may not be able to accomplish in a session. And her complaints for attention covered that there was an intent outcome gap. The ball was starting left of target and falling right, and sometimes starting right and moving further right, versus her desire for the balls falling left off a slightly right start line. So she desired a push draw and was getting a cut or even sometimes a pull cut. So if we unpack the diagnostics, starting with that understanding that we want to shift ball flight to push draw and then correlate that back to how we use the technology, the beauty of the system is there are many data points that we can refer to. Probably the first is the 2D, just looking at the video and what we'll call thin slicing, just looking at the pattern and trying to make a representation as to why that ball might be cutting. The second is pairing together the balance plate data. So we've got toeward pressure bias. Toes are represented by the high hot spot, red hot spot versus the heel pressure. We've got equal distribution. We've got trail side shift of pressure of 78% to the top of the swing, but it's still with a very, very high toe side bias. And then we've got the resultant ball flight and the measured club delivery in the launch monitor screen of club path left, face to path 3 degrees open, and the resultant outcome, ball starting just slightly right of target and then ending up 20 feet to the right of target, and clearly not world-class results, at least for the standpoint of contending in as many golf tournaments as she can contend in. So what we have is we have the correlation factor here for when her pressure gets into her toes at address, then that sends the path of the club and arms very upright, or too upright for her in the backswing, and then as a result of that the entire swing is a little bit more vertical and the entire direction, the bottom of the arc, is shifted to the left, and so that enables her to catch it, catch the ball, catch impact with that club moving to the left target, and therefore the face has to stay open, so we get a ball flight that moves back at least towards the target from time to time. Again, not her desired ball flight. So then we bring up the comp subject on the right hand side over here, and we'll notice that what we did, if we're looking at the balance plate, is we redistributed a little bit of the static pressure, so the address pressure, far more 50-50 as it relates to heel toe bias. So we've got a little bit greater level of pressure showing up in the heels on the bottom right hand side. And then what I cued her for in the first swing, so this is the first swing coming back after a discussion on what's necessary to change. I cued her of pressure into the right heel with a left shoulder moving across. So we've got a little bit of a translation, a lateral body shift over a trail side, and we've got a much greater pressure shift back into her right heel. And so if we then highlight, identify what changed in the mechanics of the backswing, so that wind up that then becomes predictive of how a player can deliver the club back to impact, you can see a much greater depth to the turn, a much greater depth to the hand path to the top of the backswing, netting out a flatter overall lead arm plane to the top. And then from there, what she feels like she can do is she feels like she can then return the club more swinging out to the right of target. So we can validate that using a launch monitor. We've got club path to the right. We've got face angle 1 degree to the right of target, although I think that's a misread on behalf of TrackMan there, because in actual fact this ball was drawing back to target. So we've got the resultant ball flight as a slight push draw versus the shot that she was complaining about, which is that shot that bleeds out to the right. So again, working from a standpoint of understand the player's complaints, understand the needs that she has to play at a world-class level, and then working diagnostics using pattern recognition that we have as instructors, and then the benefit of technology to work a solution. But also at the same time, a further benefit of using the Swing Catalyst system is as an augmented feedback solution to speed integration such that this player could hit the ground running and move through the necessary cognitive load period, in that phase where they're having to think about what needs to happen internally, or perhaps feeling the movement through, in this case, through her feet or through her lead shoulder, to affect that change in ball flight outcome. So we got great results over a very short period of time here in the first 15 or 20 minutes of session, and they were very sticky, netting out some great ball control in subsequent weeks.